Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey there. So I'm actually triple scheduled, and we'll have to drop after 15 minutes, just so people are aware. The
So do you want me to run this one?
yes, I want you to run this one for that reason. Your last one before you take off.
Yeah, exactly. If I could, since Josh has to leave after 15 minutes, if I could get someone to take notes, that would be awesome, because I can't talk and take notes at the same time. I'm just not quite that talented. So we'll put in the working group reports, I'm going to put the governance working group at the top so that we can cover that before you leave, Josh.
Okay.
Let's give people a minute or two to join.
Okay.
While people are joining, does anyone have anything that they'd like to add to the agenda? So right now we have the working group report outs, we have the Get the Word Out campaign, and we have the standing item for a weekly tweet. Is there anything else we need to add to the agenda?
I added some stuff, but it's not much already.
Okay. Is that the stuff that's in the Getting the Word Out section?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, now that we have Carolyn, we can start. Just kidding.
I'm sorry, never hold up for me.
No, I just said we're going to give people another minute or two to join, and then you just joined. So it was just funny timing. And Josh has to drop after 15 minutes. So I've moved the governance to the top of the working group reports. But we do have a good crew, and it's 2 past the hour. So welcome to the CNCF Tag Contributor Strategy meeting. This is a CNCF meeting, so we are under the CNCF Code of Conduct. So please be kind to each other. And the meeting is being recorded for posterity on the internet, just as a reminder. Okay, let's start with the governance working group. Josh, do you want to kick that off?
Yep. So as soon as I straighten out my rebase, I'll be merging the docs for the federated governance document, which will be the first one. We're stripping out the comments and replacing them with docs. Mostly, I just needed to document that for a specific project. And we'll be doing the same with the other ones as time is available. Another thing is we added a requirement to have some kind of a leadership succession plan for graduated projects to the CNCF guidelines. This came up largely because of etcd, and Bob Killen of Kubernetes drafted it. And this basically just says that in the future, before projects become graduated, they need to have a written plan that says how they retire former maintainers, how they recruit new maintainers, et cetera. And this largely came up because etcd had a situation where they had no maintainer removal process. And as a result, it looked to the TOC like there were 10 maintainers for etcd, whereas 8 of those people had not contributed to the project in more than 2 years. So for governance working group, we need to go through our templates and everything to make sure that that's clearly spelled out in the templates. I think that it is. I just haven't checked.
Yeah, I wonder if it might be a good idea not to give us more work or anything, but I wonder if we want to do an audit of the graduated projects and make sure that they all have some mechanism for removing maintainers so that we can suggest that if they don't, because it's not like removing emeritus maintainers who've just lost interest or are no longer actively contributing is important, but it's also important that we have a process for removing other contributors as well if there's an issue with a particular contributor. So I think maybe that would be a good thing for us to do at some
Yeah,
point.
it'd be worth
Yeah.
looking as we have time. Because we know about 2 projects. How many are there, right? And it's a surprisingly easy thing to miss. Witness the fact that the Kubernetes steering committee just added how to remove a steering committee member like last week.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking as I was saying
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think I
So-
like the idea of doing the auditing. I think that's will help, clean up, some, confusion. I'm also wondering, is there any like term, for those graduate projects, like term of maintainers?
By the way, let me actually interrupt the governance thing here, because there's something else that's sort of general, which is introducing Kathy Zhang, who is now our 3rd TOC liaison. So
Hi,
welcome,
everyone.
Kathy. Also new
Thank you.
TOC member, period. Welcome, Kathy.
Yeah, welcome,
you very
Kathy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think this is really a very interesting, very important work of this type.
Yeah, historically, we've left whether or not there's a specific term up to the projects.
Mhm.
A lot of the smaller projects run what we call maintainer councils, where the top level approvers are the governance of the project. And those don't tend to have a specific term of office.
Yeah, I think for a smaller project, yeah, I think that's fine. That's good. I'm just thinking for the very large projects, does it really make sense to introduce the term? Of course, the maintainers who have done a great job or who have interest to continue working on that, they can be re-elected, no limit number of times. I think that may give the new members, opportunities to, to have a maintainer position, contribute more, to encourage them to work more and, to play a more key role.
Yeah, I think
This-
most of the projects that have elections have terms for the whatever committee it is, whether it's a technical oversight committee or a steering committee. But that might be worth taking a look at as we go through and audit them and just make sure that at least the elected members have some kind of a term associated with that position.
Yeah. I would say another piece of advice that we can give to projects is probably that they should be reviewing who their maintainers are with each annual report. Which you would assume would happen anyway, but clearly has not.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anything else on the governance working group? Okay, our newly formed, just announced mentoring working group update.
Hello, everyone. I think we'll take this in two parts. So we thank the TOC and everybody for approving this and getting it on its feet. We had our first meeting. Some Zoom issues notwithstanding, we did have our first meeting a couple of days ago, and I've linked the meeting minutes there so folks can go over it. I don't want to go too much over the same stuff that we went over there. Quick update on a couple of the programs. LFX, CNCF LFX mentorship term 3, September through November, is currently accepting project proposals. through till 5 p.m. tomorrow, my time. And at which point we'll put those into the LFX system and get ready to open up mentee applicants for starting on Monday. I'd like to invite everyone to join the mailing list. This is the general mailing list, and the reason I'm bringing that up right now is because a couple of emails came through from the Google Summer of Code program, inviting us to share stories and whatnot about mentorship. I've already, there's two discussions there, one about a video sort of essay, which I've already invited the CNCF, just because of timing. I just said, okay, I'm going to try to I've already indicated our interest in it, and I've spoken with the CNCF Director of Marketing, Christy Tan, but I wanted to sort of bring these two potential opportunities to the wider group to discuss, and I figured the mailing list is probably the easiest way to do that, given the original stuff was from email. And I think that's it for my updates. Jay, do you have, how's Canvas going?
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Yeah, just quickly. Yeah, so the Canvas Career Expo that I mentioned about a fortnight ago kicks off in just under 4 hours. So and just an update for anyone who haven't sort of mentioned it to, we're going to be holding a pretty big stand there. 8 monitors, just pretty much going wide. I've sort of talked about, a lot of people aren't too aware of what open source is, or what Linux is, who the CNCF is, etc. So it's really, as much as we'll be pushing the LFX and trying to encourage more contributors and all the rest of it, a lot of it is just a bit of an awareness piece to experiment with different engagement material and see what people's response is, build some relationships, and yeah, just have a bit of fun with it ideally. So for anyone who is interested, I'll be putting a link up. Perhaps maybe just drop it in the Slack if anyone wants to zoom in and check it out and see how it's all going on the day. Be awesome to have someone, see how it's all going. So that's the main thing for me. Thank you.
So that's today and tomorrow in New Zealand.
Oh, and tomorrow. Yeah. Thanks for
and please share your photos in Slack as soon as you're all set up.
Cool. We'll do.
Yeah, plus one to that. I'm excited to see how things are going.
I had a question. I see that there's 15 project proposals. Do you know how many mentees you anticipate having applications for?
Are you asking how many applications we'll get, or how many mentees we would have per project?
I'm trying to get a feel for, we've had this push to get people to submit project proposals, and I don't really have a good feel for, are we being successful, or are we still undershooting where we want to be?
So the last two, I think we had 33 and almost 40 for the previous 2 semesters. So I think we're a little underperforming at this point, but historically, a lot of the proposals have come in the last day or two. So okay. I'm hoping that there will be a flurry of activity on our repo shortly. But yeah, no, in terms of number of projects, we're on the low side right now. That being said, if you're helping merge and review project proposals, a couple of things to note, and I should probably put this in the instruction set. Excuse me, the mentors should be the mentors listed should be maintainers, project maintainers. People who are not maintainers can open the PR, but the maintainers should be involved somewhere along the line. And also, if there's no email address associated, if you don't know the email address of the mentors, please ask in the review for either the email address to be provided there or DM'd to us, just to make sure that we have that information, because it's a part of it's in order to create a mentor in the system, we do require an email address. A GitHub isn't a GitHub handle isn't enough for us.
Okay.
And just let me drop the let me copy and paste the this is what I go by for the I just dropped the maintainers list that I use in if you want to do a cross check, if folks are interested in doing that.
Okay, any other questions on the mentoring? Okay, contributor growth.
Yeah, so I've just been underwater working on Porter's V1, which is going to happen probably after I get back from vacation. So not much has been going on, but we do have an updated preview of the site redesign. So this gets us to the point where, the original site design was just, I found some stock stuff, and kind of just put it out there so we could start making content. Now the CNCF has given us resources to actually make the site match, the CNCF branding. So if you take a look at that, this will be for contribute.cncf.io. And it looks amazing. I encourage you to take a look at it and share, feedback before we merge this probably very soon. I think it looks really good. It's super cool. It keeps all the content the same, and it's going to make it easier for us to manage over time, because he has combined CNCF contribute repository, all that content, into the contributor strategy repository. When we do that, there's going to be a little bit of like administrivia to make sure that people who have access to CNCF/contribute will have access to continue to help approve the type of PRs we get every week, adding new projects and updating project status and things like that. So I'm just making people aware that that's going to change. So if people have thoughts on how that gets managed, other than just net merging the two GitHub settings file, please share them. Are there any questions about the site redesign? No. Okay. Otherwise, sorry.
No, just said it looks great. Yeah, love it.
Absolutely, looks amazing. The other thing is that I put together an annual review email template, and the idea is that when the CNCF receives an annual review for a project, they would send out this email to the maintainers list for that project and give us a chance to engage with them on some of their action items. And so this is something that was already merged and reviewed. You can take a look at the link there and kind of see what are the types of things that we're offering to help with. So for example, maintainer diversity, working on your contributor pipeline, building out governance docs, all the stuff, and this is just kind of a timely way to engage with people when normally we don't have a great way to, as directly contact maintainers. So I'm hoping this will go out. I don't know, people should start seeing within a month. And I'll be really interested to see if we get responses from projects. We'll see. But that's all I have for contributor growth.
Any questions about contributor growth?
I have a suggestion. maybe you already consider it. I haven't gone through this website, in detail. So if we can have some place that, gives people like, information on which projects really need, contribution, right? So like, or need maintainers, or need contributors, or need committers. Yeah, those information, then people will have a better ideas. Oh, I have expertise in this area, and then they can go to that project. So provide some information for matching that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was saying, are you suggesting right now we have this has always existed, like before TAG did, was a list of just all the projects, right? And if you go and you click on that example there, you click on contributors at the very top, it takes you to the list of all the graduated incubating projects and everything. If you click on one of their names, you'll see a bit of info about each one. We don't at the moment have any, like, I don't know like what the process would be to try to get that type of information of who needs what. Because traditionally, like, our tag has no involvement with the collection of this information and keeping it up to date. That's all been a separate thing. I'm not quite sure who we should engage with to figure out for those people how they'd like to collect that info about, we need maintainers, or we're looking for people with site web design skills, or so on and so forth, and how to get that up on this site. Does anyone have an idea of like who actually runs that? Or I can just follow up with Amy otherwise.
So it would probably be a good time for me to bring up that that would probably fall within, since it's project organization, it would fall within a non-code project endeavor. And over in the Kubernetes side, I'm currently in the process of resurrecting the non-code contributor project, with the goal of bringing it over to this tag as a generic object and generic processes. So if this is something that we identify as something that the projects themselves want to be able to present, so that they can say, we have need for maintainers, contributors, whatever, I think that would probably be a good place for that type of data collection, since we're already looking at being able to identify other things that are issues without having particular PRs and tags and assignments. I think this would probably be closest to that particular endeavor.
Yeah, I heard from the TOC chair, Dims. Yeah, he mentioned, some project or some areas really need contributors. I don't know where he put that information. Yeah, maybe you can reach out to him, or I can reach out to him. And I'm just thinking, but of course, this information may change over years. But if we have a centralized place that when the contributors, I see that this contributor grows, right? If they want to contribute, right? It's hard for them to really know which project really, of course they can identify some project, but if we have this information, it's easier for them to see, okay, oh, this project really need contribution. And my skills match this project. So they can go to that, dive into that project. Otherwise, there are so many projects in CNCF.
Can you repeat his name so I can get that in the notes?
Oh, okay, Dim. He's a TOC chair, CNCF TOC chair.
Okay.
Let me post his name. Okay, I'll post his name in the chat window. Okay.
Yeah, it's Dim.
I have one point about the about this. There are two ways I think we can get that information. One is manually by having some kind of form, or asking project maintainers about who they need to have help with, the subject they need help. And another one is automatically by analyzing the repositories for like new issues and time to close the issue, time to like merge a pull request and whatnot. And that's part of something that actually Matt Young is working for Landscape Graph. So I think there we will be able to have something like an automatic way of like detecting the projects that are running down with contributors and they may need help. So there's the manual way and the automatic way. So yeah, just wanted to mention the Landscape Graph is a project that will probably help with that.
Okay. I think,
Yeah, we can also possibly get some of that from DevStats too. At least like the time to close. Or time to first response or something like that from the issues.
I think that the automated collection, and this isn't really the appropriate place to discuss this, but I think the automated collection process wouldn't give us quite the information that Kathy was suggesting, because it wasn't just who needs contributors, but the types of skills. Because when the contributors use this page, potential contributors use this page to identify projects, and it links to things like their contributing guide or getting started, all sorts of things to kind of assist new contributors to find how to start engaging with projects. And what Kathy was saying was that, you know, if you have specific skills, like, okay, I'm capable of helping with documentation, I'm capable of helping with release management or so on and so forth. If we just automated a lot of this, I think it would be really difficult to have any skill labeling whatsoever. Right now, projects, maintainers keep this up to date themselves. They'll submit PRs to move themselves from incubating to graduated or to tweak their descriptions all the time. Like it's pretty active, and project maintainers already know that they're responsible for it. So in the beginning, I think we could pretty quickly just have them contribute a little bit of extra information about where they need help, you know. I'm not saying the automated collection is not the way to go, but I think we can get started pretty quickly just by integrating with the existing process that maintainers are doing to keep this site up to date.
I think what would be kind of cool when you were talking about, it's like if we could create like some kind of job board, you know, where people can kind of like post, so people can, so that it looks and feels like something people already know, and then like look for those skills, right? And I think like, I mean, probably every project wants contributors, right? But I think it also gives the opportunity, because we are always struggling with communicating how important like docs are, or like how important like people being active. That could be also like people, we could post that there as well, saying like, hey, we need really people as helping in the, so like it would be first a way for people to kind of see what's available, but also a way to kind of really clearly communicate that that's also a contribution. I'm talking about all the important non-code contributions that at least we try to encourage at Linkerd. And yeah, it's kind of like always a struggle, because people are always like, it's code, 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 code. And like you can, you know, put your, and then like in the dropdown would be like all the languages, and then docs, and then like community support. You're gonna, people would see like not only the code skills, but also, and it's like, oh, that's actually, you know, like something that people really look for. I think it would also help communicate that.
Yeah. I think long-term, the CNCF's plan is to automate a lot of that page based off of landscape, actually. So yeah, I think I just need to sync up with the people who actually manage that part of the site, and I'll get people an update on like where the CNCF is hoping to take that info, and make sure that we can find a process that also includes you know, the job board concept.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, I like that idea, you know, so the project owners or leads, yeah, they can post, you know, some information in that job board, and then the newcomers, right, can take a look, say, oh yeah, I have this skill, right?
Yeah.
Or just even coding, right? There are so many different areas. They can see, oh yeah, I have these skills. Then, you know, I can help with that. Or it may be several projects require the same skills, right? And then he can choose, say, which project, you know, he's interested. I think this will help motivate the newcomers, the new contributors, and also will help them to find, you know, where to contribute easily. Otherwise, they're going to be a little bit lost, right? So many projects, all these rules, they don't know how to overwhelming. I think for newcomers who don't know, yeah, it will be overwhelming. So I think
Yeah, I
this
absolutely agree. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
driving
I-
it based off of how they're already thinking, which is I want to help with docs, I want to help with website design or something like that, I think is a much better fit for what's in the mind right now for a new contributor. Like they don't know what all these projects are, most likely. And just showing them a list of names is not helpful.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
this
the reality is all of our projects are looking for more contributors in various ways. And we have lots of people who would like to contribute but don't know where to start. So I think this is a good opportunity for us to start thinking about how we can better match those up.
There's an area that that's an area that we can, if we start to build some type of database of like individuals' skill, the skills some individual has and the interest in collaborating, we can actually start doing, after building the type of database, we can start doing some type of matchmaking between the interested individuals and mentors, actually. So we can do, for example, if someone has interest in design and they want to contribute to a project, but they don't have the confidence, we can they can like put that in a form or whatever, and then we can matchmake that individual to some mentor that can help like with that. And that's actually a more like medium to long-term project, but I think it may be something we should think of.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, Kathy, for suggesting that. I think it's a really, really interesting idea. We could go in a lot of different directions with it.
Yeah, that's a great
Sure.
idea.
Yeah, thank you for the discussion.
Yeah. Alexander, since you had some thoughts on this, do you mind creating an issue in the contributor strategy tag for us to just kind of track this, and we can create sub issues on top of or underneath it? I just think maybe like an umbrella issue so we don't forget about this, I think would be super helpful.
I can, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Maintainer circle. Do we have any updates on maintainer circle? I'm gonna guess no. Okay. I suspect that'll ramp back up as we come into the work for KubeCon. Carolyn, how can we get our recordings posted each week? So I took the action item like 3 weeks ago to do this. And you see that it's not done. And I'm going on vacation starting in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not going to do it. I think because of the access, I think it probably has to be me, Josh, or you as our tech lead.
I just got access to some top secret leads mailing list for this group. And I noticed that it was mailing the group what looked like a Zoom recording. So I was curious if after like the contributor growth working group, if I would somehow have access to that. So it is mailing me. And somehow I can log in and post it on YouTube.
I'll send you the access to post it.
Thanks.
Instructions. Because so what they started doing is for tag leads, they started sending us a thing every time the video posted, I think hoping to remind us that we need to post our videos, because I'm sure we're not the only tag that's this is embarrassing. I think it's been a long time since we've posted our videos. So we do really need to catch up. Maybe I can do some of that when I get back from holiday.
But if you show me, I'm happy to help, do videos when I can too.
Cool. Yeah, I'll send you the stuff right now before I forget.
Thanks.
Catherine, our Get the Word Out campaign.
Yeah, so one thing, I was looking at the issue that we created a while ago with all the things, and we're basically almost done with everything that we had here. So it's kind of nice. One is ongoing, social media is ongoing. And then like the project pavilion, we submitted that. So we'll kind of see, but now I'm like, so what's next? It's kind of So because we need to kind of continue doing this like forever, basically, right? Until because that's like how there are always new people who need to know about it. So it's just like maybe time as well to brainstorm what else we could do. Like for the CNCF live stream, I just checked and we have 242 views so far on YouTube. So it looks like people are watching it. It was just yesterday. So I think that's kind of nice. And then yeah, I think like we should always think about what we can do at KubeCon, right? So the project pavilion would be really cool. I think that would be really amazing. So I think, Dawn, you submitted the form, right? Like I think you submitted on the first day. So it's like I have a good feeling that we will get one. But of course we don't know yet.
Does anybody know when they tell us if we get a stand or not?
I don't know. They just sent another reminder telling people to submit the form. So I was like, oh, still. So it's like I thought they would.
Okay, I didn't even
so
realize
like last week or so.
Open. Okay.
Yeah. So but one of the things that I was thinking, like whether we get it or not, one of the things that we should definitely do, because there are like all these booths with all these maintainers, we should do a little round there and like introduction, like this is what we are, you should join us, like kind of like we should leverage that spot because that's basically where our audience is. And then I mean the CNCF PR team has always kind of like like sponsored podcasts and live streams and things like that. And I was thinking maybe we can come up with ideas we can pitch to them, because it cannot always be like, oh, it's just like this is the tag, right? Because it's gonna be boring. But if we come up with something and say like, hey, can you give us one slot? I think I was thinking of the podcast, but they also do this with DevOps days, or I don't know, like they do DevOps days. No, DevOps. I don't know. There's like this online publication that they always have this stand where they do like the little live videos and things like that. If we come up with an idea that is kind of different, maybe inviting some projects that are using it, like something that's different from last time, and we come up with a story that sounds kind of interesting and just pitch it to them and say like, hey, could we do this? And I think that's something that we should try to do at each KubeCon, but it's up to us to come with the idea that is appealing. So they give us a slot, because I'm sure a lot of people want that slot. So just something to think about to stay relevant and stay in the conversation.
I would love to have us pitch something around contributor growth, because that's not something that we've talked about as much recently. And like Kathy said, this is getting new contributors is something that's really hard for a lot of projects. And so, maybe we could do something around like, top tips for getting new contributors, something like that, because I can send you kind of an abstract, because I proposed a talk at KubeCon on this, and it was declined, which is not a surprise. I've spoken at like the last 10 KubeCons or something. And so I was due for a rejection really, really quickly. But I wonder if we could do something around that. Carolyn.
I want to suggest doing what you're saying, but refining it a little to be very specific for what projects really need at the moment. A lot of the pipeline and contributor growth, it's really easy to over focus on getting really new raw contributors who don't have experience with the project, the domain, open source, or programming, or whatever the thing is. Like people use it to learn, you know what I mean? And those contributors over time may pay off and eventually help the projects a lot, but that's actually I would say even to the medium term, that's a net drain on the project, just being straight honest. What projects are asking for and really need help with is how to get their contributors to the point where they're a net help, and then eventually get them to maintainer, and very specifically how to find and encourage people who are basically being paid to do open source at other companies to contribute so that they can hit the maintainer diversity thing. That's what people really need help with. Like, I think if we do the normal types of stuff we've talked about, like one of our past talks that like Josh and I did at KubeCon like 2 years ago, A lot of that was heavily focused on the beginning of the pipeline, you know? And I don't feel like that's not really what projects are asking for. They're really asking for, how do I get contributors who are coming back week after week and delivering the big features we need, and then becoming maintainers so that we can check the we have 2 companies box, or 3, however many they need, you know?
Yeah, I love that idea. I mean, that's something, I mean, how many times has that come up in our various tag meetings where we get,
Every
we
time.
get projects coming in and they're like, we only get our contributors from this company. How do we make that better? I mean, that's probably the most common question we get as a tag.
That's because it's hard.
It's hard.
I couldn't give you a stock glib answer off the cuff. You know, I think we need to talk to a lot of people and try to figure that out, to be honest. But I mean, if we can't figure it out, I don't know how we're asking projects to do this by themselves.
We gotta understand as well why the reasoning behind not having, like, a project not having enough contributors, or the reason why they start contributing and then leave. Like, knowing the why behind that will probably give us a better sense of, like, do we need better documentation on that project, or do we need better response times, or do we need better code reviews that highlight some code that needs commenting, or some more detailed information about that code, so the contributor feel confident about doing contributions. Because if we take upon ourselves to grow the contributors and grow the diversity of contributors without knowing that, we can be chasing something that is, like, fundamentally needing more change.
Yep.
So yeah, like, trying to understand why
I've got
that
an
happens.
idea. So, because I mean, those are questions that we cannot answer without hearing from contributors. And I do know that the CNCF does a lot of surveys. So I don't know how, I mean, one more, but what would be really cool is, like, if there could be like a survey where we're asking people who are active contributors, who have contributed, like, what is their frustration, what has stopped, like, have like some questions like that to understand that, and then like have the CNCF push it out, and then ask all projects to push it out and put it on our Slack channel. And then maybe we could kind of talk about that, like the results at KubeCon in one of those things, and kind of have some data, because right now we're just guessing, right? It's like, or it's anecdotal, we hear some things, it's not really, but like having, and I know it's really difficult to get people to respond, but it kind of may, and that could be like a regular thing that TAG does, right? Like, like serve, like kind of try to do maybe more with the projects, because I think like probably CNCF will be hesitant to kind of, because it's like each additional survey is like people get, tired, right? So you have to be careful with how much you ask people to participate. But I think that would be like really beneficial, kind of hearing from them and then seeing what they say, and then what does it mean? How can we improve?
Another way is to reach out and individually work with people and ask follow-up questions. So for example, we have like Kubernetes has contributor experience, right? If we wanted to find out in Kubernetes how people's experiences have gone, we could put something out there and say, are you willing to chat? Just reach out that way. Because if someone's been turned off or is camping there and hoping for an opportunity and not seeing it, they may be more willing to kind of delve in. Because I don't think like just 4 questions or whatever is going to give us a really good feel for what is often pretty nuanced, where you're like, I'm new and I got to one point, then hit the wall because I didn't understand. I didn't have the experience to know how to move forward. Even with, like, most people don't have ladders. Even when there is a ladder, if you're new to open source and you're new to working on projects, like, it really helps to have someone walking you through what to do next as you progress as a contributor and you become more interested in, say, becoming a lead or things like that. But with just like a couple questions, I think it'd be pretty hard to kind of capture or find like odd reasons why people are running into problems. But we do have little areas like that where I think we could actually get like more like user focus groups where we could talk to people and see how it's going, or reach out to people who have become maintainers recently and ask what made that possible for them.
The only thing is like, or like if we go back then and again, like the Kubernetes, it's always Kubernetes projects, it's always like the big projects, right? And I think like I'm sure like smaller projects are doing lots of beginners mistakes, right, that they may not know, because it would be nice to see like what projects that they contribute to. And it's like for instance, like I don't know, like lead time, like it just takes ages until a PR is reviewed and things like, I don't know, like because like the smaller ones are a lot more overwhelmed probably than the bigger ones. So I don't know, I feel like if we are asking always like the big ones, that that information will get lost, and I feel like those are the projects that probably need the most support. Which is, by the way, why I'm actually so excited about the job board idea, because I think that would really benefit small projects, right? Because like everyone who's new is going to look at Kubernetes and like the big ones. I want to participate in the big ones. But if you're kind of looking at skills and then suddenly you have all these tiny, we have so many sandbox. So I think that would be really good. That could be really, really good for the smaller ones just to get more contributors. But they also need to understand why people are not contributing with them, and they have completely different challenges than a big project as Kubernetes, for instance. So it's like maybe there is something, or like maybe there's several things that can be done, but I feel like we also it would be really important to get feedback from people who have contributed to smaller projects.
What I think,
no, absolutely.
what I think might help is if we, because if we make the assumption that one of the biggest problems is you've got these projects that were brought in by a company and they're having a problem getting their first couple of maintainers from outside of the company or contributors from outside of the company, what are a couple of projects that are graduating or incubating now that were brought in by a single company but have done a good job of getting external maintainers? And maybe talk to some of those projects and get some tips, and we can,
I love it. Yeah.
share those.
Yeah, one idea I have, if we need to do more in-depth research around this, is if we need a budget for doing this, we can actually pitch some idea for building like a report, annual report, or some type of report that we can partner with other companies and why not build that and release as something that everyone can use to understand the issues behind what we're talking about. So we can actually pitch that idea of building a report every year or every, I don't know, so we can have some budget to do this research. That's just a suggestion if we need it. Because I don't think we are the only ones experiencing these issues, and like that we'll probably start doing more research around this. I think that's an area that is very common among open source projects. So we can actually partner with, I don't know, GitHub and some any other company to do that research with.
I think like if there is a bigger company who kind of want, because yeah, as you said, like I think every single, I don't think there's no project that does not want to know because it's like everyone is like wondering and has no real clue why actually things are working or not working except for gut feeling. So if you have any I don't know, do you have any contacts that you could ask, or you were, because I wouldn't know how to get that started, Alexander.
Do you mean from whom?
Yeah, because you said like partner up with a company or like getting up, like, I don't know, like, did you have anything specific in mind, or were you just saying that there are like companies that might want to help out with this?
Yeah, the more general, like there are probably other companies, and we can, there are some ways that we can think about this. we can partner with companies that actually build those projects and maintain it. We can partner with GitHub, for example, that actually stores those repositories and has like, they probably have some good analytics around that. We can partner with some company that already do those types of research, and yeah, but I was thinking more taking a more general approach and just getting the idea. But if we decide to go for it, we can think about having those different types of companies. So the open source maintainers, open source repository holders, and whatnot, and then a company that does some type of research already, user research and surveys. That way we can offload that work and build like a, if we build like a report and whatnot that actually can incentivize other companies to take action on this. That will probably also help with some marketing campaigns if CNCF wants to do anything around that. Yeah, but it's more, that will be probably be more long term to do those partnerships, and we gotta think, we gotta separate what we want for like short term, medium term, and long term. That will be probably medium to long term. So yeah,
Maybe we could like have a brainstorm until like, or have like gather some ideas until the next meeting. And I think like maybe we should do several things, right? Like those focus groups that Carolyn was, because it's like, it doesn't, we don't have to do one thing, right? You know, like if we get like more data from different sources, like of course, like you can only compare and have like metrics for things that are like survey-like, but like getting more qualitative data where people are saying, you know, like giving a little bit more context, all of that will make everything richer. So maybe I could ask the CNCF like about like if there is like some room for a survey or what they think, if that's something that they could do. Maybe we could think about companies, you know, like maybe some company thinks it's because it's like always you can put a report out and put your name. So I don't know, maybe Microsoft, since GitHub is Microsoft, I don't know, Carolyn, is that something that they would, because it's like, oh,
They are not the same.
Huh?
GitHub's operated as a separate company.
Oh,
I have plenty of contacts at GitHub though.
Okay.
So if we need to talk to somebody over there, I can put us in touch with somebody.
because that could be something interesting for them too, you know, kind of like it's like they can position themselves as, hey, we're big in open source, so maybe they want to lead with that. So it's not a bad idea to do that, and maybe they want to partner with the CNC. I don't know, like just
they would probably have some ideas as well if we contact them and like give them more context and bring them to brainstorm some of that. They will probably have some ideas themselves, and then we can like merge the ideas and get to a place where it's good for everyone.
And it's good for them, like really, like, because if you publish a report, you're gonna get lots of media. So it's like all the reporters are gonna be over it. Reporters love numbers, so like whichever company kind of wants to do this is gonna get a lot of. So I think like if we sell it like that, John, whenever you talk to them, because it's like it's gonna be really good for them, and then we benefit, like the projects benefit for the data and actually getting that. I like that idea to have like these different. So
yeah, that we have to like organize those ideas into, like I said, the short term, medium term, and long term. At least for us, not talking about the report, we gotta figure out the best strategy there. But for the medium to long term, I think that would be actually something really nice to have, because we have very little like information around those problems that we have. Everyone has those problems, but I don't think anyone actually did, at least not publicly, did some type of report in that sense that we are talking. So I think it's very good to have it, at least try to have something like that out there. That will probably help everyone that needs maintainers, and everyone that needs contributors, everyone that needs support, and then like understanding that's actually, there's another company that may be helpful. I learned a lot from them. It's NN Group. It's an user experience company that does consulting and coaching and training for everything related to user research, user experience. We could probably try getting them on board as well, because they're really huge in the user experience market and training. It's not I can't remember if it's Nielsen Norman or Norman Nielsen, but it's pretty big. I actually sent that, so we can, yeah, I think that would be good.
So why don't we do for next, so for our next meeting, so I'm gonna ask the CNCF, Don, you're gonna ask GitHub, Alexander, you're gonna ask, like, you're gonna see do some research on that land, and I think we could actually start with a doc and just put like, what would we even ask? Worst case scenario, if you don't find anything, why don't we do like a small Google Doc, you know, a Google form, and then just post it in Slack, because like, so that we get some data until KubeCon and we have something to discuss. Doesn't have to be like the big, you know, fancy report, but like at least we're already building some questions, we get something. Best case scenario, we find, you know, like someone who wants to do like something really professionally and can help push it out. Worst case scenario, we just push it out on our Slack channels and ask other project maintainers to do the same, and then see. It will probably be like maybe 50 or something, but it will give us something to talk about, and we can always say it's a very small, you know.
Okay, so we are about out of time. We've got 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Since this is kind of a contributor growth-y topic, maybe we can continue this discussion. Contributor growth's next week, right? No.
It's on the
it's not.
25th, but I won't be there.
The 25th. So maybe we can continue this discussion on the 25th and make whatever progress we can in the meantime via Slack or a doc. But I wanted to make sure that we had enough time to talk about our weekly tweet and what we want to promote.
Oh, yes.
About the tag this week. I think the live stream that we just did is a big one. We could pull a few like maybe choice quotes or a couple of the things that we talked about and do it like maybe like a little series of tweets with links to the live stream. There's certainly, Nate, I'm sure you've got some mentoring stuff going out this week because of the deadline.
Yeah, I've just actually sent out another email to the TOC channel. I might do a tweet on just because the deadline is coming up. And Jay, did you have anything? Would a tweet help on your side for information about Canvas?
Not at this stage. I'll follow up with you about that though. There's yeah, a couple of things to run by the team as well, but yeah, because you get your feedback on that too. So yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask Catherine, do you have time to write a few tweets for next week around the live stream? Because I'm gonna be on holiday starting pretty much now.
Yeah, I can now. Yeah, sure, I can do. Like you meant like a yeah, it would be nice to embed, like have the tweet in the website. Oh, but do you think we could have that? So we actually post the embedded video in the website versus like a YouTube link, just to get them on our
if you get me the link, I can get it up there. You can review it and we'll get it merged today.
Yeah, because that would be nicer. Then we have the tweet, and then we they're on our domain and not Google's.
Yeah.
At least,
Yeah. Just just give me the link and we can get up there today.
And they can see our
Okay.
other great resources in the sidebar while they're on that page.
Yes, exactly. So it's like on Google, they get into see other stuff that we don't want them necessarily to see. So,
No, that's
Okay,
a great
cool.
idea, Catherine. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody.
Okay, thank you.
and
Thanks
we'll
all.
see you in a couple of weeks.
Have a good vacation.
bye. Yeah. Enjoy. Bye.
Yeah.